Hey guys, welcome to the weekly astrology and tarot forecast for Monday, May 2nd through Sunday, May 8th. Yeah, we're going to get all up in this week's business. And I think like in the beginning of the week, we're going to make some last ditch efforts to really connect with people, make those connections happen, whether it be, in our relationships or in business or, like we're all high driving business people, like Wall Street, no, but or could be just like for our security because we're in tourist season now, so it's like time to really set roots to have those finer things in life. But we also have other energies in the mix besides that. We actually have all of the elements coming together, and we're also in that waxing phase of the moon, so we're going to have to face something this week that we really don't want to face, but we're going to have the courage within us to really like move forward. And by the end of the week, it does end off on the first quarter moon. And so that means like, universe says fight time. Not necessarily a fight, or it could be, but it's more like there's a conflict, there's issue. And the moon is a super nice energy. The moon is like the other luminary, right? And the sun is always shining. It's always like assert yourself, like be yourself, shine your light, like tell people how you really feel. It's like this constant energy, more masculine. And the moon, when we get into these moon phases, the moon is sweet. It's kind of like this motherly energy that's like, let me just like smooth things over and then kind of bring things up, so that you can look at it, like shed some light on it. And then when it's too much, I'm going to like take that light away and then I'm going to like put it on so you can see it and then like soften things. So the moon's a softer energy. So even though she's like, hey, it's time to deal with this conflict. She gives us time to breathe, right? So, so certain weeks are going to be tougher than others, but the moon is always like, it like eases up at some point, allows us to be able to process and deal with our feelings. Yeah, so this week, just off the bat, it's most likely going to feel like a tougher week because the moon is waxing. It's leading up to that first quarter moon. So you're not alone in that. So I'm going to go through each day of the week so you can understand the energies, especially if you're super all over the place, emotional, like I am, and if you're into, astrology and tarot, most likely you are. It's important to know, I think, like what's going on for each day of the week, not just major transits, because like there's going to be other days of the week where we just have like a moon transit or something. And it's not just a moon transit. The moon is very important. And nobody's really like speaking to that type of energy, like the in-between type stuff. So I'm going to walk you through each day of the week, what it's going to be like. And then at the end, I do a tarot card reading to give you some advice for the week, advice on what to do. Real quick, who I am, I like to introduce myself if you haven't been to my channel, otherwise it's rude. My name is Valentine Lister. On this channel, I do this weekly astrology and tarot forecast every Sunday. I also do videos on tarot, spirituality, and astrology videos will be coming up. So if there's actually stuff you want to learn, leave me a comment below so that I know to make a video on it. And yeah, oh, if you want to get to know more about me, my website is valentinelister.com. Also, if you've been watching videos, you feel comfortable, you feel close yet, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell to get more videos. If this is your first time, it's okay. You can take some time to warm up, get to know me. I get it. I get it. Super healthy start to a relationship. Like, get to know the person first before you make a commitment. I hear you, girl. I hear you. Okay. So, oh, and it could be guys. I hear you, guy, too, or whoever. Sorry. Okay. All right. So for Monday, May 2nd, I'm going to look at the chart here. If you guys like looking at the chart with me, let me know. I tend to be all over the place, like at what I'm looking at. Like I use a few resources. That's why I don't like put the chart on the screen, but I do use it. And this week I did a little something different. Just I pulled some cards to guide me too. And okay, so getting all up in people's spaces, let me just like, okay. So the reason I'm thinking this is that we have the moon in Gemini, and I also pulled the Queen of Swords. Hopefully you guys can see this. For this, yeah, okay. Sorry. Okay, we have the Queen of Swords for that day. And for Monday and Tuesday, I pulled people cards too. I pulled another, like, this is for Tuesday. And so it's making me think it is a very social energy, which is not surprising. Gemini is ruled by Mercury. He's a super social sign, likes to get the dish, likes to pass the dish along to people. Yeah, and my thought was that so we have Jupiter squaring the moon and Mercury. So number one, we have like the Mercury conjuncting the moon. So there's going to be a lot of emotional thinking. And so Mercury can't see clearly in the moon's energy. And none of us can. Like I said, the moon waxes and wanes, it changes in light. And so what I find is that when the moon makes an aspect to Mercury, like we're super emotional and we probably want to communicate in some way with like Gemini being that communication. We feel the need to communicate with other people, get the dish, pass the dish, but there's some type of emotion going on and that always clouds our energy. So what you may not know is that originally the moon used to represent more of like that Neptune energy where it was like illusion or deception or seeing things and then not. And that's because the moon, like I said, changes in light. So sometimes we're seeing super clearly, right, in the full moon, and sometimes we're not seeing anything at all, like in a new moon. So Mercury is making plans but can't see clearly, but there's like this emotional drive to do something and to connect with people because we have Jupiter in a whole square, a whole sign square to Mercury and the moon, and Jupiter is co-present with Mars. So there is like this work toward work. Mars is work, asserting ourselves, like taking an action, even doing something destructive in order to get people to come together. That's the Jupiter energy part of it. And I mean, I do find like Mars in Pisces, it can be aggressive, but it's something that brings people together. Sometimes it's like telling off that wrong person, and like connecting with your friends about it, like that type of thing. Yeah. Um, and you know, so like we're not gonna be thinking clearly. We're gonna be like all over the place. And there might be some harshness to that. Like there might be sharp words, um, because we have Mars in the mix with that whole sign square, plus we have Saturn squaring the sun. And that's really what I'm seeing like the whole week because, Saturn, like the sun is approaching Saturn. And that's always, it like feels very painful when Saturn squares the sun because we want to shine our light. We want to be free to do our thing, and be ourselves and work towards like what we want to do as an individual, how we're going to leave our mark on the world. And Saturn is saying like, get with reality. Like, you have limitations and you have to work within those limitations. And sometimes that can really feel like heartbreak. And I'm really getting like this heartbreak energy for the whole, for the whole week. And so a lot of times, like, if if something is restricting us or limiting us, or we have a loss or of something, um, we do all kinds of reckless things to try to make ourselves feel better, whether it's connecting with friends, whether it's forcing relationships, whether it's indulging, in food or our addictions, or sometimes it's like working too hard. Sometimes it's going to work out. Sometimes we can do it in a healthy way, but I'm thinking maybe not so much because we have the moon, not moon, we have the sun in Taurus co-present with that North Node. North Node is hungry. So I feel like with this Queen of Swords for Monday, it's going to be some feisty energy because later we have Venus ingressing into Aries. Okay, and that's why I'm thinking there might be some last ditch efforts to make connections because Venus in Pisces has been so beautiful, so nice. And it's going to be in that last degree for part of the day, for like the first part of the day. And so it's like, let's make the most of this Venus in Pisces, which is this super beautiful connecting energy where we really enjoyed other people. We connected with them. Like you were probably able to like just spill the beans to somebody, cry about something, and somebody totally understood. Not only did they understand, but they probably had the same situation or knew somebody with the same situation. Beautiful energy. And we're trying to hold on to that. But we're not necessarily going to be able, we're not going to be able to, not necessarily, we're not going to be able to. We're going to get into the feisty energy because Venus going into Aries is cutthroat energy. It's like Venus, the goddess, like pretty girl, goddess of love, like everything's okay. Let's enjoy our lives. Like, let's chill. Let's do girl things, with Venus. Um, but she's in the land of Aries, that god of war. And it's like with Aries, it's this like feisty soldier and it's really fun energy. Um, but it is like Venus being put in this place where she has to use fighting words and she has to, like cut people off and go, I'm important, and like step off if you're not going to do what's right, like in relationships with me. And that's not so great for harmony. Um, and also, Venus in Aries has to work too hard. She's working too hard. So, a lot of times, I also think of Venus in Aries as it's like people with like Venus and Aries placements, you have to work too hard to make relationships work, right? Other people maybe aren't doing their part, their fair part in relationship, because Venus does represent balance and harmony. And so, when Venus is in her own sign or in her exaltation, or, it's about a give and take in relationship. It's about justice. Like Venus is associated with like justice, um, and finding a compromise that works for everybody so that relationships can continue, because we always want different things as individuals. And Venus like brings those things together in a way where we compromise, right? And so if you have Venus in Aries, or if we're in Venus and Aries season, people are not compromising the way they need to, and it's one-sided. And so, what is Venus going to do? She's in Aries land. She's going to fight. She's going to advocate for herself, for fairness, to have things be done the right way in our relationships, or as far as money or negotiations, or justice or legal matters. She's going to fight, but she has to work extra hard because she's in like a foreign place. That's also like she's in her detriment in Aries, so that's also considered a foreign place. It's not like where she's from. And so she's speaking a language that she wouldn't normally speak by telling people off or being feisty or just going out and doing things spontaneously or impulsively. That's not Venus's style. And she has to try to communicate with people who maybe are like too aggressive, or you know like too feisty, or not doing their part in their relationship, not being fair, only thinking of themselves. And she has to try to convince them of her side. And so we might feel burnt out, like in our relationships or in love or in, finding harmony or some type of pleasure, because we're going to have to work extra hard. And so those things, negotiations or finding harmony or pleasure when it comes to our relationship may fall apart. And the other bad thing I'm seeing here too is that Venus is ruling the sun right now and she's in aversion. So Venus is not able to support the sun. The sun is in Venus's home when she's in Taurus. And so we're really like we're going to find on Monday not being supported after that ingress, like not feeling as supported in our actions, and what we want to do. We'll probably find emotional support or from groups of friends, but we're gonna really have to work hard to find pleasure. And then we have this insatiable North Node there as well. Okay, so we did all that, and then we get into Tuesday. Um, yeah, I feel like we're gonna have anxiety about emotionally connecting with people, especially now when Venus is going into Aries. Um, and I feel like we have Mars squaring the moon. That's one of the that's one of the transits for the day. And I'm thinking anxiety. So Mars squaring the moon can be really irritable, and it's also making a whole sign square to Mercury. And so it made me think like frantic planning that's like really emotionally driven. Like we really want to connect we really want to feel safe and grounded and secure and be able to just have those comfort items with us, or the people who comfort us, or like the money that comforts us, or, whatever it is. We want those things, and we want comfort, you know, in our relationships. But we're not necessarily getting that. And it's like, I feel like emotionally driven actions with that Mars in Pisces. And so maybe like throwing ourselves at people, but then having like ulterior motives in what we're doing, right? That Venus is working extra hard in Aries. She's extra aggressive. We got the hungry North Node in Taurus, and the Sun not being supported. And then we have Mercury with the Moon, who, like I mentioned for yesterday, emotionally driven. And then we have Saturn, Sun. So that's even like grief. And they're talking, and I think about grief as the best aphrodisiac. So, like I said, we had the Queen of Pentacles type energy for Tuesday. And so I feel like we're throwing ourselves at people. We're trying to make connections. Maybe it feels good. Like, we have a Venus, Jupiter contra Antisha. Um, so it may feel good, but I feel like there's a sense of recklessness, in our connections with people, and how we're trying to find security. And we have ulterior motives. So I don't think this is necessarily like, well, actually, we always have ulterior motives. If we're throwing ourselves at people, we have a reckless type of energy. Um, that's not genuinely connecting with people. Genuine connections take time, right? Healthy connections take time to develop. And so I think we're in a phase on Tuesday where we're not willing to wait. Um, and we want to push forward. And yeah, and so I think it's like, if you're making decisions, it's like maybe today is not the best time to make a decision, because again, you're going to feel emotionally driven. You're going to want to connect. You're going to want to socialize. You're going to want to come up with a plan. But I don't think we're necessarily going to get the satisfaction on Tuesday that we want. And so, yeah, and so there's just like, I don't know, it's like, and I've been there like so many times, like you throw yourself at somebody and you want them to reciprocate, but they can feel your hunger and they can feel your desperation. And so I feel like there's part of it, there's this like desperation, type energy, and maybe we're not so aware of because we're still in that new moon phase. Okay, so for Wednesday, I'm thinking we need some cheering up. We have a little bit of angsty energy. And I think we are going to do some things to cheer ourselves up. We have the Three of Cups reversed. So we're not necessarily like feeling cheerful, feeling like ourselves. We're not necessarily like able to like even, like be outward focused and like put that, I don't know, like cheerful mask. Well, maybe we do put a cheerful mask on, but we feel a little bit sad on Wednesday. We have the moon trining Saturn. So, I was thinking like solid plans to actually like, do something to cheer ourselves up, um, and make ourselves feel a little bit better. So that's cool. And yeah, and I think it's going to work for a while. And because we have also the moon squaring Jupiter. And so I mean, I think really like our socializing with people, or even really consuming media. So sometimes that happens when the moon is in Gemini. Like we consume so much media. You might be on like YouTube a lot or reading a lot, things that really inspire you. Or you may just be out like socializing or working with people. And I think there's going to be this sense of really feeling more connected. However, we have the moon void for a little bit, so it may not like fit the bill. We may feel a little bit empty. The moon's in those last degrees. Um, yeah, and it's really like, I think so today on Wednesday, if you're watching Wednesday, we have like that waxing crescent. And so it's like we know we need to get information. We know maybe we need to we come up with a plan of action. to figure out, like probably related to our like physical pleasure, security, comfort. Maybe you don't relate to the word pleasure, but like to our physical comfort and having those comfort items. We know we have to come up with a clever plan, but maybe we're hesitant to face it. Like there's still this, like, it just, I feel like this just emotional energy. It's like this angsty energy in the beginning of the week. Um, which I think will ease up for a bit, but anyway. So well, oh, the good news for this day is that by the end of the day, the moon is going to ingress into Cancer. And so that's its home sign. That's its home sign. And so it's a very emotionally nurturing sign, can navigate like all the highs and lows and, be okay with it. And there's nothing like, not, oh yeah, Saturn, and there's nothing maltreating the moon. Like Mars is in a sextile with the moon. So like, I mean, that can always mean like sadness, but that's nothing like major is afflicting the moon. And the moon is going to be, this is actually Thursday, but I'm going to say it for today because you're going to feel it. The moon is squaring Venus. And so I feel like we're going to feel better by the end of the day, and we're going to see beautiful connections with like friends or romances, because that moon in Cancer is making a whole sign trine to Jupiter and Mars. And so maybe there's some painfulness, like bringing those connections together, but I feel like there's going to be, the pain can often bring beauty and meaning and like this feel good energy to us. And then, yeah, with the Venus there, yeah, so it's like, there might be cutting off of relationships or difficulty in relationships or, friends or, money matters, negotiations. Um, but we're going to be able to connect to people. So, so there may be like painful emotions there, but I feel like, again, it's going to bring a lot of beauty to it and and this feeling of freedom, and I think feeling supported. And then for Thursday, yeah, I wasn't sure what to think for Thursday. So, I'm pulling cards for every day, and I got the Five of Cups reversed right here. Yeah, and I'm thinking like life starts to hit us really hard. Now we have emotional energy with the moon in Cancer, and it can be really nurturing, but a lot of times also the moon is like a shoulder to cry on, like the moon in Cancer. It's like that shoulder to cry on. Like we can let our emotions out, we can feel our feelings, and that might feel good, but the fact that we're crying maybe doesn't feel so good. And if you don't like your emotions, it might be tough. Um, yeah, and I'm thinking like there's some inner sadness about like some type of transition that's hitting us emotionally, like maybe a change or like a cutting off of a relationship, and that could be like romantic, friendship. It could be with family members, like moving on, and it could be things. It could even be things that are pleasant, of in transition, like getting married or having a child, or moving to a new apartment or getting a new job. You know, like there's that going on, but there's inner grief about having to make this transition. And maybe like in the beginning of the week, there's like this last ditch effort to make that relationship happen, to maybe fix it. Um, or maybe like there is, even if the transition has already been made, there is like this like trying to hold on to that and have some type of like jovial or good feeling or feel like centered about it, but we didn't. Um, yeah, and so I think there's some, grief going on Thursday. All right, so for Friday, we had the Empress. So that could be good. That could be really pleasurable. This is Venus. Oh, it happens to be Venus Day on May 6th. It's a Friday. So Venus is claiming her day in this week's reading. Awesome. So it's a very harmonious day. I mean, there's all harmonious aspects. There's sextiles and trines all day long. So like there's nothing major happening where we'd have any real conflict that day, besides like things that I mentioned like earlier. But the moon being in Cancer, it's now in the last degrees, which won't really be an issue till tomorrow. It's getting to the last degrees on Friday, but it's not getting into the degrees where we're going to feel bad yet. Save that for tomorrow. Save that for almost first quarter moon season. So, and the moon is in like this, it's in the bounds of Jupiter. It's in the decan of like this very giving energy and like, how can I like take care of people type energy, like pretty beautiful. It's in a square to Venus. Venus is not necessarily doing the greatest, but it's fine. And Mercury has been like, well, after the moon ingressed to Cancer, like the moon is in Gemini, so we can think clearly, and that thinking clearly, that happens like where am I, right? So that actually happened probably like Wednesday. We were probably thinking a little bit clearly, but we had like some like more tensions, like emotional tension. So on Friday, I think it's going to be a day of like clearer thinking, clearer planning, Um, although we don't necessarily like know where we're going because we have that sun, it's not supported by Venus, unfortunately. So it's like just a shot in the dark, not necessarily being fully supported in our actions, but we're okay with it Friday. Like we're going to make it work. So sometimes with Venus, it's not that everything is okay, but she's like, this is fine. I want to enjoy my life. So even if my life is a shit show, I'm fine. I'm cool. I'm chilling. I'm Venus. I'm cool. Um, yeah, and Moon's gonna sextile the sun, Venus is gonna sextile Mercury. So, that we might feel more Thursday because it's so early. I'm just thinking like either yesterday or today, like venting to friends or being able to make a plan of action to fight for yourself and try to make things fair. That was like the feels that I'm getting. Um, yeah, so, you know, like things are okay. Like things are okay. I think we're feeling fine. Um, like maybe dreamy, harmonious and feeling good. Um, but I think like we're feeling good, but we have that overall, like I said, Saturn is in a whole sign square to that sun. The sun is approaching the North Node. Um, so we're not necessarily feeling satisfied or fulfilled completely. And then, yeah, Mars and Jupiter are squaring like Mercury. But I think like we know there's problems. Like we know we're facing conflicts, but I think we're just gonna make a choice to be okay with it. Maybe we're like, it's like kickback. It's Friday. Let me enjoy my life. Let me enjoy while Jupiter is still in Pisces. It's in that last degree. Like, let me take some action to just like connect, with like friends and family. Look at the bigger picture. Like, let me just make things work so that I can just have fun and have a good time. All right, so for Saturday, you know, like I feel like Friday leads into like we do our thing, like we're fiery, feisty, independent. Yeah, and we do have the sun in a sextile to Mars. So, you know, um it's like we are like taking action, exerting energy, or if we're like fighting with people or whatever, like we're it's doing it in a way that's connecting, and it's like we're not completely supportive. So one thing I didn't mention too is that like Venus in Aries doesn't even have the support of Mars. Like Mars isn't there. So there's a lot with like our relationships, and then even our actions, like trying to just be true to ourselves. That type of thing maybe hasn't worked out, but it's like, well, you know what? Time to kick back, have a good time. Like, I'm not going to wait for my life to come together to do that. We have the moon in this nice trine to Venus. And I just thought of that as like feisty, fun, like independent type energy, like bringing the fire on Saturday. And so that could be like, fuck off type energy, like screw you, like get out of my face. You don't like me, get out of my face. Like who the fuck needs you? Or it could mean like going out and having a good time, like a wild time. Like, you know, Venus in Aries likes to have fun, likes to have a good time. And the moon is like all moon in Leo, likes to have fun. It's the heart of a child, likes to be playful, but also has this brave sense of like, I am going to face and I'm going to be able to handle whatever life gives me, no matter what. Leo is a very brave sign. It's the sign of the leader. And so even if other people don't like, um, you know, that Leo moon, the Leo moon is like, I'm going to rise above that. You know, I'm going to rise above my insecurities. I'm going to work with them. And so that's like the energy for us for Saturday. But then we have this like what stood out to me was like this soft, like Mars and Pisces energy with the sun in that sextile, that there's also this like softer, like receptive type of energy going on as well, where we like, I feel like we're gonna chill out. Oh, but this was the fun part. So we have we have like, you know, the Nine of Pentacles and we have the Page of Cups. And I feel like it's the energy of we are super independent. We're doing our thing. We're taking our care of ourselves. Like we're making our money or making our plans. You know, we're making efforts to create our own security, and somebody else pursues us. Like, you know, like I'm like, this looked to me like a love interest. So having somebody come out and be like, hey girl, what's up? Or hey guy, what's up? Like, what's happening? Like someone pursues us. Like we do our own thing. We're like, I don't need anybody. Or, and it's not even just I don't need anybody. I really think there is like, I'm gonna go out and have a good time. And I do think there's a genuine I don't need anybody else. Like I think Saturday, I just feel it more genuinely versus the other days where I felt like there was more ulterior motives. Like the other days you would have been like, I don't really need anybody, but I really do. Like Saturday, I feel like we are going to feel super independent and forget about people. And then people are going to be like, huh? Like, who's this person? They're like so on fire. They look so vibrant and amazing, and I want to pursue them. So that could be like a love interest, or it could be even like a friend connecting to you, or somebody who you can open up to, who's like emotionally sensitive. And a lot of times it's strangers. A lot of times when I get these people cards, it's like multiple people you come across. It's kind of like the energy of people that you come across. And yeah, the moon is, you know, in a sextile with Mercury. So just able to make, like, think on your feet, make clear plans when you're going out and being brave and having fun. And like the moon is trining Venus, so it's like easy to have a good time, to make things pleasant and pleasurable, and like, you know, might be nice for a love connection. I'm seeing the only thing I see is like maybe there won't be a complete connection between these two energies. um yeah, like maybe not, just like maybe not like because sometimes we're too independent. So sometimes it's like you get so frustrated, maybe that Venus in Aries is so frustrated she has to work so hard. It's like you work so hard, right, and people are not there for you, and then you finally give up on them and you're like, I'm moving on, and then they come around and you're like so pissed off because it's like, where were you before? Like, where were you before? You didn't come around before, and now I'm just pissed off at you. So there may not be a connection like between these two energies. Like you might actually like stay independent, and people that pursue you might say, nah, uh-uh. Okay, and then for Sunday, we have the first quarter moon. And, you know, it's this moon where like we demand what we're worth. So, you know, I'm thinking like maybe we did shut down this like Page of Cups coming along, you know, and acting like a child. And Saturday we have the Magician, which I kind of like. And we have, you know, Mercury in a good place in Gemini. He's doing okay. All right. So I think this is going to be a good thing. I think it's going to be a good part of our strategy for life overall. We have this first quarter moon in Leo. And we have it versus, I thought my phone was off. So let me just like turn that off. We have like, we have these two very fixed energies, right? So first quarter moon is when the moon is waxing and it squares the sun, if you didn't know. And it represents a conflict or taking action. Most often it's conflict. Sometimes I'm like, maybe it won't be a conflict. Maybe I'll feel okay. But usually there's a lot of friction. Both like Taurus, right, especially with the North Node, and Leo are going to say, like, I'm worth time, attention, money. I'm worth committing to. I'm worth you being reliable to me, right? And the Leo moon is loud, right? If somebody's not meeting the Leo moon's needs, like natally, like and just the general vibe, like if you're not meeting the Leo moon's needs, that Leo moon is going to make those needs as loud as possible, like for you to hear. And the sun in Taurus is also going to be demanding, but they may not be so verbal about it. Like that energy may not be so verbal about it. So I think that's the conflict of like, like the sun in Taurus might want to just stick its feet in and chill. Plus we have Saturn opposing the moon. So, that makes these moon transits extra painful in fixed signs, like just making the moon making contact with Saturn, because like the moon likes to move around, it likes to, wander, connect with people, nurture. And Saturn is like, I'm drawing the line here. Like, you can't move around, you can't move forward. Like, these are your limitations. Like, this is it. So we have the moon both in an opposition to Saturn, squaring the sun, squaring that north node. And so we're going to be demanding, but it also may be like we stick our heels in and, I'm not sure how verbal we're going to be about it. Maybe we will be super verbal because we have the magician energy. So that's like Gemini, or, well, he's also, magician is Virgo and Gemini. Like he rules those. But we have Gemini. We're in Mercury and Gemini season. And I think that, there is a possibility we won't actually be so like verbally demanding, but it might be a situation where we're not willing to budge, where like maybe somebody pursues us and we're like, no, like we are not budging. Like these are my needs. And there is an aspect of Leo that can like step back and like wait for people. And it's like, okay, I'm waiting. I'm waiting. Um, yeah. And so it also depends on your personality and your charts. So there's going to be something where we do demand that time, money, attention from people, and we're not going to budge. And oh, that was the thing. I think it's coming from heartbreak. So we have like with that Saturn and the moon, it's like that represents like heartbreak, a severing from people that's really painful. And so I think it's like out of heartbreak, that we're demanding and we're really realizing, how much we're worth and we're having to fight for it and we're not really getting the best support. And, so we get loud. We either get loud with our words or we're going to get loud with our actions. We're going to take actions that are clever, that really throw people for a loop, and it's not what they were expecting, and they didn't see that coming. Okay, so I'm going to read the cards to see what the energy is for this week. Well, and also the advice, right? So we kind of have an idea of what this week is going to be like, but it's nice to have like a summary. Like for me, I'm like, okay, I said all these things and like what's the overall thing I need to know, but also like how do we deal with this week? So that's what this reading is all about. And it also talks about like situations, that may come up for us. So I'm gonna rock and roll and see what's happening. All right, so maybe we can turn things around. This card like flipped around. Unexpected messages and plans, unexpected things coming at us, that we get these messages just in the nick of time. So this like intuitive energy. So it's like we're going to get messages that are important. And I think they're for our overall well-being. It's like this last, like, yeah, it's like, it's so interesting because this is definitely throwing me for a loop because it's not necessarily like what I was seeing in the weekly forecast, but the overall energy of the week is all of this like suddenness, sudden energy, like things coming out of nowhere, that we weren't expecting, but sudden messages that support us and like plans that fall apart, um, like negotiations that fall apart, like yeah, it's there's a very suddenness, but it's like this card was flipping around, so it's like these messages that are like disruptive to us, or it's like, oh crap, I forgot about this. Like that's when it then this card is reversed. It's like we get a message and we're like, oh crap, I forgot about like this appointment I had or this thing I had to do, but you find out just in like the nick of time and then you go off to do that thing. But then upright, it's like, oh, if things flow a little better because like, oh, I got a message like in just the right time to do the right thing. And so let me get more info because I'm not like super clear. All I'm super clear about is we're going to get those like last minute messages, whether good or bad, and it's going to be like super nurturing for us. Like it's going to be a good thing for us. Like these, just like, oh, I didn't know this was happening. Okay. So situations that might come up, we have the Ace of Pentacles. Hmm. Yeah, my feeling from this card is that we've had our eye on a goal, or an achievement, and that eye on that goal is not the best goal for us. Um, it's not the goal that is going to be fruitful. Um, it's not an idea like that goal that we've had or the thing that we want is not something that's it's gonna like bring us peace, and we're gonna feel like that thing is bringing us to the wrong path. And so yeah, like what I'm getting so far is like these jolting of plans and just like being all over the place, right? So I'm thinking like that Mercury moon like type energy where it's like, huh, I don't know what I'm doing. I think I'm supposed to do this, but um there's this like I don't even know what's going on type energy to this week that's like it's like throwing me for a loop, like looking for this week, like I can't get a clear feel, but I feel like there's going to be some chaos. um and like there's something about something about like our like a something bringing physical security or a connection or a relationship that is holding us down, holding us back, is not supporting us. Could be a relationship related to money, finances, could be money or business. It's just like some type of goal for physical resources. A lot of times it is, for a relationship or moving forward or money, home, you know. But whatever it is, it's like, got to think again, think twice. The universe is going to stop us from making a decision that's probably not the best for us. Yeah, why this situation is coming up. Knight of Swords. So, yeah, it's coming up. Geez, like it's I don't like it's like this week is just like unclear. It's like this unclear energy, and it's like you're gonna have to rely like on faith. I think this week is like really gonna have to rely on faith, and that makes sense in that we have Jupiter in the last degrees of Pisces, and maybe it's speaking like super loud and super intensely that we're gonna have to rely on faith. We're gonna have to rely on how we feel intuitively in order to really go the right direction. Because I feel like there's a person that you should be wary of, that you should not be continuing to interact with, that's gonna like pop in and um maybe make an offer of love, or try to help you out. If it's not love, it's like try to help you out financially, like an offer financially, like an offer for business or work. Um, and it's like, don't do it. It's like the universe is like trying to like jolt this person out of your life, like is the energy I'm getting. I'm getting there's a lot of anxiety. This person, um, could be very difficult to talk to, but is coming with the like concept of I'm trying to help you out. I'm trying to do what's right for you. And the universe just like karate chops that back. I'm feeling like the universe is going to karate chop like hiya this person out of your life or this situation out of your life, and you're not going to know why. Like it's like why, why, like this is the person I wanted, or this is the job I wanted, this is the financial deal I wanted, this is the home I wanted. I thought I can, it could even be like I thought I could trust this realtor or something. Like it's a variety of scenarios, since this is all going to hit us differently. But um it's like I'm getting this feeling of like intoxication for this week. Like we really are just not seeing things like um and sometimes it's a jumble of like things happening to us or chaos, but I feel like there's a lot of like um it's like mental emotional energy where we're just so ungrounded that it's like not a good space to make decisions from. So I feel like we're going to be prevented from like making decisions, or maybe like decisions that don't honor our value or worth, or just help us out, right? So we had that first quarter moon, and it's like, okay, this is what I'm worth. This is like time, money, and attention. But you're not really demanding that or fighting for that until the end of the week. And so we're gonna have some blessings, I feel like, until that point where we realize things for ourselves. Ah, yes, okay, yes. We've got the strength card. This is the Leo card, right? Awesome. Awesome. So the advice for this situation um, is like, don't accept any offers until you feel peaceful, grounded, clear. Don't accept any offers where people are pressuring you, or don't accept any situations or agreements where people are pressuring you to do a certain thing and you don't feel comfortable with it. Stand your ground and don't be afraid of conflict. When we get this strength card, like embrace the conflict. So the advice is to embrace the conflicts that come along this week. And this Knight of Swords person, quick with the tongue, maybe think on their feet, but can be vicious with words, can like maybe cut you up with words and be like, come on, like, like just do, like what are you doing? And it just invalidates your experience. Like, oh, you're crazy. Oh, like, oh, you want me to actually like prove this to you or show you the details or like show you evidence? Um, Someone who's not willing to be honest and have integrity, who makes you feel crazy for just asking for validation or for like the details of something. And you should always feel comfortable being able to do that in any type of relationship, negotiation. Um, you should feel comfortable being able to do that. And so I'm thinking, pops up in my head, like the Venus and Aries, what I said, like I said, Venus has to work too hard, and it's because other people are in it for their own selfish interests. So that's a lot of times why we can't have or we have difficulty having harmony, and why Venus gets so tired in Aries. It's like she's in this foreign place where she has to really like make her case for fairness, and it's like, should you really have to make a case for fairness? Like people should just like, I mean, people should learn that. People should know that not everybody does. People come from dysfunctional backgrounds, and that's from selfishness, like because it's like a lot of times like with dysfunction, it's like from someone along the way like gave up on life in whatever way. A lot of times it's an actual addiction, or to like a substance, alcohol, whatever. Sometimes it's addiction to work, or it's an addiction to or it's like addiction like cheating on people, like relationships, overindulging in sex or romance. There's so many varieties of things, but that basically that person has given up hope and they've given up on life in some way. Maybe some things are coming together, but overall there's this brokenness and there's this loss of hope. And there's this heartbreak there. But the problem is when we're in that heartbreak mode, and we're in this painful place, and we stay there like as a way of life, that's when we become self-centered. That's where we become destructive towards people. And we're not considering how like us dimming our light and not shining kind of makes other people, it like makes the other flowers wilt. Like it makes the other people around us also shrink back and not be their full selves, like not be in that Leo energy. Yeah, and there's a self-centeredness to giving up hope. And because that's when we don't actually see like, oh, there's all these other people suffering with us. And how can I rise up out of like my depression or my need to just numb myself out so I don't have to feel anything? How can I be brave and face that pain and face the things in my life and overcome them? And be able to find support of people to help me get out of my rut. How can I be proactive and figure out like creative ways to get out of my own rut? Consulting my cards, like consulting, my astrology chart or whatever, meditation. But regardless of what you do, there has to be a willingness to face your demons head on and to face that lion, to face that monster within you, and your fear, like your terror of other people, of life, of failing, of not being able to live up to the ideas you've been told. And there has to be a willingness to look at that and untangle that and be like, okay, these are the things that are making me, these are the thoughts in my head that are creating misery. Those can be untangled. Those are things that people told you that were true. And the nice thing is, you can decide that the things that people told you growing up, you can decide they're not true, or maybe the advice from people wasn't as wise as you thought it once was. A lot of time, people tell us things, but then we find out they're miserable. They're not happy. And that doesn't say, like I have compassion for those people, like, and I have compassion for myself, like, sorry, when I'm in that place. But we do have to consider the source when we're taking advice and move towards, let me take advice from somebody that has their stuff together. And if you don't know anybody personally, the awesome thing is like, we have YouTube, right? We have all these resources, where we can research people and, find people we look up to, like read inspirational books. Like I love to read autobiographies of people who like overcame their difficulties. And, like you can do things like study that, or just do your spiritual practice, or just do things that, that bring you joy. So the strength card related to Leo, and we're going to get to Leo energy by the end of the week, pursuing things that bring joy. And if you don't have that, exploring things until you find the thing that brings you joy. Like, there may be a time, I found this for myself and maybe for you, where it's like, if you're in a depressed state or you're in an anxious state, you're not finding that thing that brings you joy. You're not in that childlike exploration phase. And so what I'm saying is be brave, face it, don't give up. Like, don't give up on just exploring things, like trying as many things as you can before you find that thing that lights you on fire, right? So in my personal experience, it was like starting a YouTube channel, started reading cards, got my astrology certification, started studying yoga and meditation. It totally changed my life. Now I'm super excited. I used to be afraid to be alone. Now I can't wait to get time alone because I found things I loved, and that helped me to heal. And so for you, it's like just pursuing that. And just sometimes it takes a long time. I'm 40 years old, guys. Like it just didn't happen. Like I started looking for this when I was younger in my 20s or teens. It took me till I was 40. Don't give up. Do not stop fighting for your inner joy. Do not stop fighting. Um, yeah, not just, yeah, that is it. Not stop, don't stop fighting for your inner joy. Don't stop fighting. You need to find your light, love yourself unconditionally, and shine that light out to other people so that they can feel good about themselves, because that is what happens. There's a famous quote, I forget who quoted it, but it was like, when we shine our light, we give permission to others to shine theirs. And if you're dimming your light, you don't have to do that, you know? Just fight the fight to heal, to find your heart, and to find that centered place, and that childlike place, and that fun place that's like very Madonna, express yourself. Go there, right? But if you can't get there and you're feeling like just hit by life and like you can't get there, get up, get back up. It means you got knocked off the horse, right? When you're going into battle, the battle of life, get back up on that horse. Get back up and fight for your life, because you are worth it. And that's what you came here for. Okay, so the outcome of the week, what do we got? Okay, we have the Four of Cups reversed. Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. I see this person not accepting this cup. Yeah, the outcome of the week is we're not going to accept like anything. I think nothing new in our life. Like I think we're going to realize just emotionally like we can't handle things coming to us that, like, again, like somebody's not valuing our worth. That's what I'm seeing. And I think we are going to acknowledge like it's time to heal and grow, and to not take on more than we can handle, because um yeah, we need to nurture our inner self. Like there's a time to take care of ourselves and our own emotions. Um because like we can't do that. I think we're going to think of long-term goals. I think we're going to have our eyes on the prize and have this long-term goal of compassion, healing, love, like a real true love. And I think that's why, like, I think in the beginning of the week, we're gonna have the universe like stop us in our tracks, throw us off course so that we don't get caught in this, like with this Knight of Swords, who is not, like, I'm getting the sense like this is not this person's fighting against us, not with us. But I think by the end of the week, we're gonna recognize like our inner fire, our inner spirit, and we're gonna realize, oh, okay, this is time to step back and heal, like, and like we're going to be able to feel comfortable like rejecting offers and changing plans, because we realize like, okay, like we need some more time to heal. And that if we do want fairness, we do want, you know, like security with money or resources, we do want to connect with people genuinely and have good relationships, or just have a better life, that we really need to have some inner compassion for ourselves so that we can grow and have a safe space to grow and a gentle place. So that's what I'm seeing for you guys. Hope you enjoyed this weekly reading. I'm gonna take an image of this card so that I can show you after, like after I stop talking. And I love you guys so much. Keep fighting the good fight. Love you.